When it comes to gargantuan American luxury SUVs, it doesn't get more ostentatious than a Cadillac Escalade. This may not have been one of the first American luxury SUVs, but it is one of the most successful selling, easily outselling its crosstown rival from Ford, the Lincoln Navigator, by 2-1. So as you can see, for 2021, Cadillac has completely redesigned the Escalade. And now they've split it up into two different flavors. A few months ago, I was testing a premium luxury trim with the more chrome-oriented luxury model. This time, they sent me over the Chrome Delete sport-oriented version. It's got the more trendy black accents replacing the chrome. And at the end of this video, we're gonna find out, is Cadillac capable of truly building a world-class luxury car? Stay tuned to find out. So as you can see, this Sport Platinum version is the top of the spec if you guys want an Escalade with basically all the goodies. I really like what the Sport package does here. Instead of all the gaudy chrome bits that you get with the premium and platinum trims, the Sport version blacks it all out. Of course, it has the new corporate face of Cadillac. And overall, I think it still definitely looks like an Escalade, but it looks a lot more modern and a lot more tech-laden versus the previous generation. Now, starting with the front fascia of the new Escalade, how could you not notice the massive grille? In fact, the headlights on this car kind of swapped orientations. They're now a more horizontal look as opposed to the vertical design. You still, of course, have the vertical strip for the LED daytime running light. This is also the turn signal. You also have LED low and high beams. The headlights themselves, like I said, are horizontal now. They're skinnier, and it really accentuates the massiveness of this grille. This Sport model gets rid of the chrome and gives you the black accents here with the black border surround. And of course, you have the new Cadillac emblem at the front. Overall, when you see this vehicle, it kind of just tells you to get the heck out of the way if it's right behind you, because this car is very imposing. It's very large and in charge, and that's exactly why so many people like this vehicle. It looks especially good in this tri-coat white metallic for an extra $1,225, along with the black accents. It's definitely a much more handsome looking Escalade in my eyes. Now, being the sport-oriented model, you get 22-inch wheels as standard. These are the biggest wheels you can get on an Escalade. Most will actually have 22-inch wheels. They're wrapped in 275/50 width tires. I like the darker finish, although Cadillac decided not to go with an all black wheel. I believe you can get an all black wheel if you guys look at the dealer. They'll offer you like that kind of accessory. The premium luxury version that I showed you a few months ago had a much more brighter chrome wheel. Air suspension is included with adaptive dampers. This vehicle now is around 212 inches long, and its wheelbase is around 121 inches long. So it's around 10 inches longer than the previous generation. And this isn't even the ESV. They make an even longer version that's around 14 inches longer than this. That gives you additional rear seat legroom and cargo space at the back. Now, a pano roof is included. I'm super short, so I can't really show you right above the vehicle, but it has these nice slim roof rails, and you can see at the back, the signature Escalade design theme continues, of course, with these vertical length LED taillights, full LEDs, of course, and there's a very, very peculiar 600 badge here at the back that lets people know that you have the 6.2 V8. That is the torque of the engine in Newton meters, even though it makes 460 pound-feet. And then down here you can see integrated exhausts, which are blacked out. I actually burned my leg on the exhaust when I was getting stuff out of the back, so kind of keep that in mind. They point out pretty far. If you're trying to access the trunk area, you actually have to push the Cadillac logo. There's a button underneath here that'll lift up the glass lift gate, which is nice that Cadillac gives you that separate viewing or separate access. Now, over here in the cargo area, you can see the third row is power folding, which is nice. I'll put the third row back up. You can see with the third row up, you get around 25 cubic feet of space, which is huge. This is basically what you're going to find in a lot of other subcompact SUVs or compact SUVs. Lift this up, you have some storage underneath here. If you want to fold down these third row seats, which as you can see are very quick to fold down, it opens it up to 72 cubic feet of space, which is pretty comparable to like a mid-size or compact SUV with the second row seat folded. If you want, you can fold down the second row captain chairs entirely. This opens you up to over 100 cubic feet of space. So this is very minivan-like in its space, and that's exactly why so many people are looking to buy one of these because they're just so ridiculously practical. So to go with the white exterior of this Sport Platinum version, let's take a look at the interior. Now, like as you guys saw, the door handle has just this little electronic release pad at the back. If I push it, it opens up the door, and my tester has an $1,800 power retractable running board option, which is necessary for a vehicle that's this large. Now, looking at the interior, you can see this is the dark auburn and black two-tone combination. It actually kind of looks a little bit purple If you look at it from certain lights, it has kind of a purplish brown tint to it. It looks really good. A lot of people were complimenting on this color combination. These are the upgraded leather seats that you can see. This comes with the Platinum and the Sport version. You can see the speakers. There are actually 2 speakers in each of the headrests because this has the AKG 36 speaker upgraded premium audio system, which is like $5,000 extra in other models. The sound system alone is probably worth the upcharge of this vehicle over its GM siblings. You can see the door panel all has the same beautiful stitching everywhere. It's soft touch down here as well. You have metal, you have piano black accents, you have real wood, although the wood trim in this vehicle has a glossy look to it, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, getting inside, surprised there's no grab handle right here, which would really help getting into this car a lot easier, so I'd have to use the steering wheel to kind of hoist myself in. But once you're in here and you shut the door, this vehicle does have soft closed doors, which you'll get on the premium luxuries and up. If you slam the door, it has a nice solid sounding thunk, which is what you expect. The key fob for the vehicle is the same key that you'll find in a lot of other GM products. Kind of sad that Cadillac doesn't offer its own unique key fob or a phone is the key feature, which it should at this price point. The button to fire up the engine is right here where you'd expect it to be. And you can see, if you guys haven't seen my first review of this interior, I'll remind you again just how incredible it is when you first see this interior at a glance. You're greeted with this amazing wall of screens. There's actually 3 screens in here that comprises of a total of 38 inches of curved OLED displays. This is one of the first in the industry. It's still very impressive even after nearly a year on the market. It's basically comprised of a 7-inch screen here, a 14.9-inch screen for the instrument panel, and a 16.9-inch screen for the main infotainment system. This also includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And I also love how thin it is. You can really see looking over here just how thin the display is. It's curved like your television set. And this is very impressive. It's one of the most redeeming factors of this interior, despite the fact that it has a lot of premium materials in here. Now, like I said earlier, premium leather stitching everywhere. Windows are one-touch automatic up-down. I do think that the window switches feel the same as what I'd find in a Chevy Tahoe or GMC Yukon. Same with the button controls here. You can see heated and cooled seats. I also have massaging seats with 2-person memory, which is to be expected. A lot of your controls are over here for the 4-wheel drive system, for your drive mode selector, for your air suspension to raise and lower it. It also has a built-in trailer brake controller and your electronic parking brake. Over here you can see it's got a powered tilt and telescoping steering wheel. My tester for $2,500 has the Super Cruise option, which this is the Super Cruise status light bar. This is the camera that watches your face. It uses LiDAR and radar to basically allow for true hands-free driving on certain interstates, most interstates across the US and Canada. This display here is very, very cool looking. In fact, this is the normal just gauge display. If you'd like, you can go over here and change the setting here. So push that button there. I can pull up the map display here, which you can see. It brings up the actual GPS right there in the display. It changes the tack and the fuel to down there as a little lever, or to a little like horizontal display. There's also the AR camera over here. If I tap that, that's really cool. That shows you basically your augmented reality, where it uses the camera and projects what's in front of the vehicle right here into the screen. Not sure why this is necessary, but it's very cool. And this one here for $2,500 has the night vision camera, which is only available at night. And you can also adjust the HUD display here and change the brightness and the sharpness and whatnot. So this is all very, very cool. Really makes this interior look a lot more futuristic. Over here you can see you've got your 16.9-inch display, which let me come back to in a moment. I want to show you guys real quick. Soft leather stitching everywhere, even over the display. This glossy wood, I kind of wish it was a more open pore matte finish. It's all carried over here. There's more leather over here, of course. You have actual buttons here for your quad zone climate control. You have these traditional horizontal knobs, which don't really have any kind of, nice click to them like some competitors give you, but you can see you can control this screen via touchscreen, or you can also use this little rotary controller with the hard buttons. You also have a wireless phone charger here, and this massive cover covers up your 2 cup holders, a little storage area, and 2 USB ports, a USB-A and a USB-C. Over here you can see this is nice and padded, and you can see my tester has a $750 fridge freezer. This actually will cool this area on the first level to around 41 degrees, 25 degrees if you push the freezer option. It actually does get very cold in here. This can fit up to 6 different drinks, I believe. So that's a very nice feature. Super handy for road trips. If I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's the reverse 360 camera with excellent graphics and resolution. You can also change the views. This is all world-class stuff, so I'm liking that Cadillac is doing that. My one gripe with this display, because it's a curved screen, you can see if I pull up the GPS here, the GPS does take up the entire screen here. It looks rather interesting. However, if you want to look at something like your Apple CarPlay, your wireless CarPlay, it leaves this big blank real estate here because it doesn't allow you to come all the way out. So I don't like how Cadillac is doing that. I'm wondering if that's an Apple thing. I'm hoping they'll fix that with a software update. This is all pretty snappy and responsive and pretty easy to use. There's a shortcut home button here, of course, which will take you back to this. You can also adjust the ambient lighting in this car. The ambient lighting is beautiful. It's very unique. It's really showing that Cadillac can make this interior look really expensive and exquisite at night. You can also link it to the drive modes and whatnot. This responsiveness of the screen is also very good. I really like how everything works. Going to settings here, you can change all this stuff if you'd like. Go into your vehicle, you can also change the effectiveness of the driver assistance, the lighting, the way the door locks lock and whatnot. And like I mentioned earlier, it also has a wireless Wi-Fi hotspot, which can connect multiple devices in the cabin for a subscription fee. So all the technology that you expect. There's also an additional screen here. The rearview mirror is also a rearview mirror camera if you'd like, or you can just go to a standard rearview mirror. I like the camera because it gets rid of a lot of your blind spots, and it also makes it so if you have stuff in the back that's blocking your view, you can still see pretty well. And the seats are adjustable in like 20 different ways. They're heated and cooled and massaging. If you guys want to access the massage, there's a little button here on the seat which allows you to change the massage. I like it on the roll, but there's several different levels and intensities. It's all very nice, all pretty much what you expect. The premium luxury version that I tested a few months ago did not have the massage feature, and I can now comment the massage works very well in this vehicle, pretty much on par with the best from Germans. Same thing with the sound system. So overall, the interior, very, very high-tech place, super comfortable, super roomy, full of all the latest tech features and more. It can be a little overwhelming if you don't know how to use most of this stuff, but once you do, it's pretty straightforward and easier to use versus some of the competing Mercedes products that I've tested over the recent few months. So let's hop into the second and the third row of the new Escalade, because this is also where Cadillac spent a lot of their time. Because of that independent rear suspension, now we have around 41 inches of legroom. My tester has the captain's chairs, which means it seats 7. You can seat this vehicle up to 8. These seats are pretty much as good as the seats that you find in the front. You have 41 inches of legroom. Like I said, it folds down, it reclines, it slides forward and back, and you have these 2 video monitors back here, which can mimic what the front display shows you. This step here is very nice, and there's actually a grab handle here, which is good because Cadillac was thinking about shorter kids when they first get into this car. You can see the pano roof also lets in a lot of light. You can also close this if you guys want to get rid of some of the light. And you can see back here, there is just a crap ton of space. I mean, this is just insane. You have wireless headphones. I can move the seat back a little bit. This is where it gives you maximum legroom. You do have heated seats back here, but no cooled seats. I'm surprised because you can find cooled seats in a lot of competitors like the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride. Open this up, you can see there are your cup holders. You have 2 USB ports over there and an HDMI port, of course. Your own set of climate controls, like I said. Although no rear seat sunshades over here, manual or automatic. They should have included that, I think, at this price point. And you can see massive amounts of room here to get into the third row of this vehicle. The third row, by the way, is now usable for adults. Because the floor is now significantly lower, at 5'7", I could easily sit back here on a longer trip. And for the middle passenger, because this car is so wide, you have all this space in the second row to basically stretch out. You have LED lighting back here in the cabin, which is great. You have rear seat air vents, third row vents, so you can keep cool. And there's even a charging port right here. And on this side, which is lit up, you have more cup holders. It's even padded right here, although this is all covered in the suede, but it's hard touch plastic over here. But overall, this is what you expect to find in a massive SUV like this, and I'm so happy that this vehicle and its GM twins finally have competitive third row seat space, because this is around 36 inches. It's practically the same as what you find in like a Honda Civic for rear seat legroom. So about 6 months ago, I finally got a chance to get behind the wheel of the completely redesigned Cadillac Escalade. That particular one I only had for about 48 hours. It was a premium luxury, black with a beige interior, all the chrome everywhere. It wasn't exactly to my specific taste, but it was a very classic Cadillac Escalade build. So this week, Caddy has sent me over a Sport Platinum version, which is the top of the spec. And of course, they've blacked out all of the chrome bits, the wheels, the grille, all the chrome on the side. It's a much more appealing car to me. It's definitely going with the more trendier look. And this one here has the 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. It's basically a carryover engine. And now that I have a 0 to 60 timing equipment here, I do want to test out what this car can do 0 to 60 wise. And we'll just floor it, we'll slightly brake torque it actually. was really slow, like off the line. Wow. And in my first run, I got 7.56 seconds, which is pretty slow, actually. It felt really sluggish. I don't think it likes brake torquing, so I'm gonna retry that again, minus the brake torquing, because it just took a second for it to finally wake up. Remember, this is a naturally aspirated engine and has a 10-speed automatic transmission, around 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. The power figures are totally carryover from the previous generation. But let's go ahead and try this one more time. That was better. All right, much better. This time I got 6.48 seconds, minus the brake torquing. So don't brake torque your Escalade. It makes it actually slower. 6.5 seconds is perfectly acceptable, but it is slower than a lot of the competition that has, you know, the boosted engines. This car is available with a boosted engine, but you have to go for the diesel option. And the diesel option I've driven in the its platform mates, the Suburban, of course, or the Tahoe and the GMC Yukon. Haven't driven it in the Escalade. That's the one that has roughly the same torque as this V8 at 460 pound-feet, but only 277 horsepower. And even though the numbers aren't terribly impressive for this car, the way that the engine sounds and feels definitely makes up for it. This is a V8 that has that classic small block Chevy noise. It's got a really nice V8, deep V8 grumble that sounds good. The exhaust, this is just a standard exhaust. Cadillac will sell you a performance exhaust for like another $2,500 from the dealer. But this already sounds pretty good from the factory. The 10-speed transmission, this is a GM and Ford co-developed transmission, and it seems like a great partner for this engine. You sometimes notice the engine needs to rev out because it's a naturally aspirated V8, but hey, for those of you who don't like the EcoBoost twin turbo V6 and the Navigator, and you want a classic V8, this is going to do it for you, but it is slower than the Navigator. It is slower than its boosted competition. So kind of keep that in mind. Cadillac is working on a full electric version of the Escalade that will be coming in the next 3 years. They're promising 2024. It'll share the 200 kilowatt hour battery pack with the GMC Hummer EV. That's one that I think is going to be perfect for the Escalade, considering what this vehicle does for people. But for now, the gas V8 is a perfectly acceptable powertrain. And let's talk a little bit more about what the Escalade is like to drive on a daily basis, because now that I have the car for a week, I'm going to change the drive mode over to touring. This is how most people are going to drive it. And this one here has the magno-rheological dampers. So we have the adaptive dampers and we have the air suspension, which I don't believe the black one that I had a couple months ago did not have that feature. It's standard on this premium luxury version. And most Escalades will have the 22-inch wheels. My tester, of course, has it. And for 22s, with the air suspension and the magno-rheological dampers, this rides extremely well. It's also extremely quiet in here. Now, I do notice over some bumps, you do feel a little bit more harshness when you hit a bump because of these low-profile tires. It's not bad per se. It's just not quite as cushy as you might expect from something like a GLS, Mercedes. But this is still a very good ride quality. But the handling of this car definitely skews more toward truck. It never lets you forget that you're driving a 6,000 pound beast. The steering in this vehicle is very truck-like in how slow it responds. The suspension also feels very soft. You can feel the body kind of do this as you do that. This is not a sporty SUV whatsoever, but it also kind of begs the question for me, could Cadillac build an Escalade V? They've got a supercharged V8 in the CT5V that makes like 650 horsepower. They could put that in this car. Now, it wouldn't be a handling beast, but it would improve the 0 to 60 time to around 4-ish seconds. That would be a great performance figure to hit, you know, when going for a vehicle like this with a V, a full-on V. I think a Escalade V would do extremely well for Cadillac if they would just build one. But just overall, you know, these truck-based cars have gotten so good in their handling, you just kind of feel the weight as you push these vehicles, because now we've got that fully independent rear suspension, which does improve not only the ride quality, but you also get significantly more space in the third row, which is why this vehicle has plentiful legroom. Back there, it has 36 inches of legroom, which is the same as like a Honda Civic, for example, in its back seat. The middle row has like 41 inches of legroom. So this now has the most interior space in the segment, which is just insane considering, you know, where this comes from. The previous generation was just so behind. It was so cramped on the inside. compared to this new version. And you can still, carry a maximum of payload of nearly 2,000 pounds. It'll tow nearly 8,000 pounds with the four-wheel drive system. And you also get this amazing commanding view of the road with all the driver assistance features that you can want. I mean, check out this augmented reality display here in my instrument panel. This is a 14.9-inch display, a 16.9-inch display here. And the camera essentially just shows you what I'm seeing here. I'm not entirely sure why you need to have two of these when you could just look up, but that is a really cool party trick. I also have the $2,000 night vision option, which allows you to see in the dark. Basically, it uses the night vision camera. It's an extra $2,000 for those of you who want that feature. But you really can't go wrong. This is still a vehicle that makes you feel like you're king of the road because it's so high, it's so wide. It's just not the type of vehicle that you'd want to drive if you're, always stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic and you're dealing with really tight quarters if you guys live in a city or whatnot. This is a car that craves wide open spaces. It craves, smooth roads. You don't really want curvy roads like this, but if you need to haul around your family or their stuff or a bunch of crap you need to tow, there really isn't anything else that kind of matches what this is, unless you look at other full-size SUVs. But the Escalade outsells the Navigator 2-to-1. Cadillac did around 25,000 of these last year. Despite the pandemic, sales are up and sales continue to be up. People apparently are paying well over sticker for this car, along with its GM twins, because everybody in America loves these big things. And after spending a week with this car, it's pretty easy to see why. Now, in terms of the fuel economy, this 6.2-liter V8 is thirsty. It's rated to get 14 in the city, 19 on the highway. Not great gas mileage figures. In my weeks worth of testing, it's been averaging around 16 miles to the gallon, so one better versus what I did in my first review. On the highway, it gets around 18, so not quite as good on the highway because of the big wheels, because of how heavy this is, because it's got the aerodynamic efficiency of a brick. But you don't buy this car to save gas. Now, I will say, if you guys go for the diesel model, I've gotten extremely good MPG in a Suburban diesel, which is bigger and heavier than this. I think I averaged in the mid-20s or something like that. You're looking at a 600-mile cruising range with the diesel. So if you guys plan to regularly daily drive your Escalade on longer road trips, the diesel doesn't cost any extra money. Go for that model because it gives you an extra 200 miles of range versus the 400 miles of range you get with the gas V8. Cadillac right now has no plans to do a hybrid version of the Escalade, but that all-electric version is definitely the one that everyone's going to want to get in the next 3 years when it comes out, because this car is still an immensely popular car, and it now is my pick over the Navigator. This is a much more impressive car than the Navigator, and it's because of all the tech. This car shows you that Cadillac can build a world-class luxury car when they put their mind to it. And it's the best product that you can find in the Cadillac portfolio. This is better than all of their other SUVs. It's better than their sedans, minus the new V-Series Blackwing models, which I'll be driving soon. But this car is begging for an electric version, which is coming, and it's begging for a V version with the supercharged V8. So Cadillac, if you're watching this, please consider doing a V version of the Escalade. It'll sell like hotcakes. So just like when I tested the new Escalade a few months ago, I was pretty blown away. Now that I had a chance to actually spend a full week with this vehicle in the Sport Platinum grade, I am even more impressed with the new Escalade. It's easily my pick over the Lincoln Navigator if you guys want a big, large, and in charge American luxury SUV. And really, there are a few quibbles with this car. Yes, she's still a gas-thirsty pig, but go for the diesel version if you want better fuel efficiency. Yes, this is not the sportiest vehicle to drive, but it is one of the most comfortable and most spacious. It really makes you feel like king of the road. And really, aside from the styling, which could be a little bit more revolutionary as opposed to evolutionary, this car still very much stands out as an Escalade. Everybody will know it's an Escalade, and it also has the price that isn't really befitting of an Escalade from 10 years ago. This car starts at around $76,000 for the base version. Add like $4 grand if you guys want four-wheel drive. Most of you will probably do that. Who in the heck wants a rear-wheel drive Escalade? If you guys want to go up a trim level, the Sport version is going to cost you another $4,000 or so. This Sport Platinum model starts at over $100,000. That's right, six-figure starting price for the Sport Platinum version. My tester, of course, with the Super Cruise option, that's the hands-free driving. It's one of the best driver assist, level 2 driver assist systems in the business. And the $2,000 night vision, the paint color, and a few other extra accessories comes to a grand total, wait for it, of $113,000. $113 grand. is pretty damn expensive by even Escalade standards. This is pretty much right in line with all of its German competitors. But again, if you guys are looking for the largest, most in charge, most spacious, most capable luxury American SUV out there, this is very much still it. Keep in mind also the diesel version doesn't cost any more. That's the one I would recommend for now if you guys want road trips, and Cadillac is going to be working on a full electric version of this car, and hopefully they'll also consider doing a V version with the supercharged V8 that you can find in the CT5V Blackland. But well, all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full week-long overview of the 2021 Cadillac Escalade Sport Platinum. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.